the Caregiver Support Program of the Dementia Care Collaborative was started at Mass General in 2017, and we are a part of the Palliative Care and Geriatric Medicine Division. And as many of you here know, the mission of our program is to transform memory care. No big deal, just to transform memory care. And we exist at Mass General to educate, to connect, and to support patients, caregivers, clinicians, really everyone. Everyone is a part of this community. We offer care consultations to caregivers and patients in specific MGH clinics. We offer skills classes for caregivers. We offer support groups, and we offer health and resiliency programming like what you're a part of right now. The Caregiver Support Program is entirely funded through philanthropic support. So if you are interested in learning how to support our program, please reach out to any of our team members, including myself. You can always drop me a note. And that's the scoop about the Dementia Care Collaborative. And now I'll tell you a little bit about Kristy. So Christy Harvey has over 15 years of experience as a movement educator in the modalities of yoga, Nia, Thai yoga bodywork, and meditation. She is a native of Charlottesville, Virginia, and she is the former administrative director of the Mindfulness Center at the University of Virginia. And her work there involved establishing a mindful movement program and a restorative yoga program for breast cancer survivors and caregivers. She is the owner of Wise Owl Wellness and the Wise Owl School of Yoga, and she provides classes, workshops, and yoga teacher trainings. Kristy also used to work at the Memory Disorders Clinic at UVA, so she is very familiar with what many people who are in this program today are experiencing in their lives. And I am just delighted that when I asked Kristy if she'd like to present, she didn't even miss a beat. She said, yes. So Kristy, it is a delight to welcome you.
Thank you, Nori. It's such a joy to be here. Of course, I had to say yes immediately because like you said, I used to run the neuropsych lab at UVA, working very closely with the physicians, the clinical staff, and of course the patients in the memory disorders clinic. So I'm quite well versed in a lot of the experiences that are shared among many of you here today. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for having me. Many of you are caregivers in some capacity, and truly we all are caregivers at one point or another, whether we're preoccupied with providing care for others, and sometimes we forget that we need to care for ourselves. So today we're going to learn how to be a caregiver for ourselves. So this idea of transformative rest, what the heck does that even mean? Well, there's a difference between sleep and rest. We all get sleep. Our body knows how to do that. But how many times have you gone to bed at night only to wake up in the morning and you feel as tired or maybe even more tired than you did the night before? And I think that we've all been there at some point. We may sleep, but often we don't get the rest that we need in order for our body to heal itself and to feel rested. And being in a caregiving capacity or dealing with dementia in your life can be taxing physically, mentally, emotionally. And so if we're not able to get that deep restorative rest, then our bodies will start to break down. We start to get stressed out, and we have all kinds of things that happen that are detrimental to our well-being. So if I told you that 1 hour of practicing yoga nidra, which is the technique I'll share with you today, is equal to 4 hours of sleep, would it be worth your time to give it a try? I think it would. So just to give you an idea of what this is, in case you are not familiar with yoga or yoga nidra or meditation, this particular type of meditation is over 2,000 years old. It is an ancient guided meditation technique that's designed to relax the body, to help us disengage with our thoughts, and to become aware of our emotions in order to accept them with compassion, whatever is going on in our present state of being. So as a culture, we are constantly in that fight or flight response, that stress response, and we don't give ourselves enough time to recover from the effects of that daily stress. For example, we are triggered quickly by our sympathetic nervous system to produce hormones that set us off in those fight and flight responses. So just as a quick example, maybe you had somebody pull out in front of you in traffic. That triggers a stress response that sends the same amount of adrenaline to the body as if you were being chased by a bear. Now, enough of those tiny little occurrences, and over time, those stress hormones build up in the body and are not good for our health. So we have a parasympathetic nervous system, which is designed to counteract all of the responses triggered by our stress responses. However, it takes about 15 minutes for that parasympathetic response to kick in. So if you were in traffic and somebody pulls out in front of you, or if you break a dish, or somebody kind of pushes past you and gives you a jolt, when's the last time you stopped for 15 minutes after each one of those occurrences just to recover from it? Probably never. So that's why we have practices that are designed to activate our rest and digest, or resting and healing system, or the parasympathetic nervous system. So in dementia care, whether you are a caregiver in the home or a caregiver in the coat or with the stethoscope, there is, burnout is a real thing. Burnout is the idea of being physically, mentally worn out. And along with that comes something called compassion fatigue. When we are helping other people live through a very difficult diagnosis, as dementia is, it has lots of layers. There are many ways that it's affecting for the person who's going through it and for the people around them, particularly family members. And it comes in waves. Sometimes we remember things just fine, and other times it's more difficult. And then there's some cognitive issues going on as well. So with compassion fatigue, people who are giving care on a regular basis are oftentimes emotionally and physically exhausted. It takes a lot of energy to help somebody through a dementia diagnosis, and then have to take care of themselves on top of it, which is why a lot of caregivers put themselves last on the list in order of taking care of people. Sometimes compassion fatigue is even called, or even referred to as, secondary traumatic stress. So the stress that you are undertaking in your position as a caregiver is real, and it's affecting your health. And some of those signs of burnout and compassion fatigue are anger, sadness, grief, frustration, or negative attitude. Sometimes we get so frustrated that we avoid the person that we want to care for. And, on top of that, adding fatigue and sleep deprivation, insomnia, that leads to muscular tension, aches and pains, headaches, poor digestion, mental focus on your part as the caregiver is diminished, and concentration is affected. So all of those things happen to us when we're under tremendous amounts of stress, when we're just trying to help somebody else. So in dealing with caregiving in any capacity, we have to remember to fill our cup first. The benefits of practicing something like Yoga Nidra is that it reduces stress. It takes away those stressful symptoms. It relieves depression and anxiety. It boosts your immune system, and we all could use that these days. It reduces insomnia and improves your quality of sleep, so that when you go to bed at night, you actually wake up rested and ready to handle whatever comes your way. It helps relieve digestive issues. It reduces physical tension, so that can help with chronic pain, lessening your physical symptoms. And then it also helps promote acceptance of emotions and thought patterns, because oftentimes we address the physical issues, but we kind of push aside the emotional ones. And those are the ones that keep coming back and really affect our ability to be who we need to be in the moment of active caregiving. So it helps to cultivate self-compassion, and resilience. So that's why we're here today. Um, just really quickly, the anatomy of it, the science behind it. There's been many studies on Yoga Nidra and the benefits of meditation, but it's very simple how it kind of activates our parasympathetic nervous system to enable us to relax and to build up that fortitude to keep going when we need it. So how does it work? When we look at Yoga Nidra from a scientific standpoint, it's a meditation practice. So it's a guided meditation. I'll be guiding you through all of the steps so you don't need to know how to do anything. All you have to do is relax. And even if you don't know how to do that, I'll help you with that. The idea is that we're going to use Yoga Nidra to ride the waves of the sleep patterns. We're going to access brain waves that are very similar to the ones that we access when we're asleep. The only difference is we're going to be awake so that we can consciously direct our rest and help the body restore itself naturally. So we move into these brainwave states where there's less mental chatter, less mind activity, and that's where profound states of meditation occur. So our brain waves change depending on what we're doing. Like right now, you're paying attention to this presentation. We're in our beta wave state. This is our alertness, our awareness. We're aware of what's going on and we're paying attention. Maybe, we'll see. Then what we're going to do as we progress through the process is we're going to move into the alpha wave state, which is that present moment awareness, that really kind of sharp, keen awareness that disengages with some of the thoughts and gives us some space to be with whatever's present for us. So when we're practicing, you might notice that you're experiencing your thoughts at a distance. You're having thoughts, and you're aware that you're having thoughts, but you're not engaging in them. I had a meditation teacher tell me once, you see the thoughts coming by as cars on the street. It's up to you to decide to get in the car and keep going with that thought or to just watch the cars pass by. So that's where we're going to be in that alpha wave state. You'll know that we've moved deeper into the sleep waves, going into the theta waves, which is where usually our dreams occur. It's where we get really relaxed and deep into meditation. And that's where I'll be guiding it, and maybe you're drifting in and out. You might even fall asleep. You'll notice that I'm talking, but if you're a fan of the Peanuts comic series, it's kind of like when Charlie Brown's at school and the teacher's going, wah, 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 wah. It's like you'll hear me talking, but you won't care. That's okay. The practice will still work. And then if you're lucky, we'll get into the delta waves, which are those low frequency brain waves where you get that sleep where you don't remember being asleep. You're just deeply, deeply at rest. So if you fall asleep during the practice, that's totally fine, completely normal. People do that all the time. Your body is still responding to the stimulus of my voice, and you'll even be able to come back out of it even though you think you're asleep. So I think that's about as technical as I want to get with the science of it, because I actually want to give you a pretty good practice. Yoga Nidra makes its way through the brain waves by following a very systematic process. So we're going to be doing I'll ask you to create an intention or what you'd like to receive from the practice. So you might want to think about that now. And then we'll do a body scan, which is just me naming some body parts and asking you to relax them as we go. Then we're going to notice the breath and maybe start to manipulate the breath by slowing it down a little bit, increasing our inhales, length, and exhale length. And then we're going to pay attention to our thoughts and check in with what's going on up there and see how busy the mind is. And then we'll check in with our emotions and see what might be present for you. And then I'm going to ask you to recall a very happy time in your life, because that is going to fill you up with all of those good feelings. And then we'll revisit that intention that you've set for yourself. Because when we're in a happy state, we retain more information, and those seeds that we plant for the practice of what we want to get out of it have a fertile ground to grow. Then I will gently bring you back into awareness of the present moment, and then we'll have a little bit of discussion. So just before we get started, a couple of examples of intentions in case you've never set an intention before is a really short sentence starting with I am. So whatever you wish to receive from the practice, you'll state it as though you've already received it. For example, it might be I am calm, or I am resilient, or I am healing, whatever it is that you need in this moment. So if you're ready, let's get comfy. If you're in your bed, that's the perfect place to be. If you have a yoga mat on the floor and you want to stretch out on that, go ahead and do so. Make sure you've got pillows and blankets and socks and hoodies or whatever it is that you want to make yourself nice and cozy, comfy. And once you arrive in your space, by the way, you can do it seated. So if you're in a chair, I just recommend that you can rest your head against something. So if you have a chair that you can put against a wall, that way you can actually relax during the practice. And then once you arrive in your comfy spot, go ahead and just take a few deep breaths. Breathe in through the nose and go ahead and let it out through the mouth. You can even say, a nice sigh. Just before we get going, as a reminder, if at any time you feel uncomfortable with the practice, if the breathing makes you uncomfortable, if relaxing makes you uncomfortable, then disengage. If your eyes are closed, you can open them, you can tune me out and come back to it as you feel ready. So now that you're nice and cozy, go ahead and figure out what your intention is and say it to yourself 3 times. As an example, I will use I am calm. So I'm just going to repeat I am calm to myself 3 times. Now we'll start to pay attention to the body, doing a little body scan. Just notice your body from the top of your head all the way down to your toes. See if there's any holding on, any tension that's present for you right now. With each exhale, see if you can let it go, relaxing the body. And we'll take a little closer look. So becoming aware of your feet, notice if any tension is present in your feet. And with your exhale, see if you can let them just rest. Notice your lower legs, your calf muscles. See if they can soften and relax. Relax and soften your knees, the front and the back of your knees. And traveling up to the thighs, allowing the thighs to relax, letting the hamstrings soften. And then even becoming aware of your hips, allowing your hips to be soft and relaxed. And then becoming aware of both legs together, from the feet all the way up to the hips, relaxed and resting. Shifting awareness now into the hands, the fingers, allowing them to be soft and relaxed. Resting and relaxing the forearms and the elbows. Allowing the tops of the arms to rest and let go. Moving awareness into the shoulders, allowing them to just be soft and resting. And then both hands and arms together, relaxed, soft, resting. And then become aware of the torso, allowing the belly to be soft, letting the breath come and go naturally, releasing any tension in the rib cage, chest, allowing the lower back and the middle back and the upper back to just rest. Aware of your whole torso, front and back, resting and relaxed. And then shifting attention to the throat and the back of the neck, soft and relaxed. The back of the head and the top of the head, and even shifting awareness to the face, softening the forehead, letting the eyes rest in their sockets, and even letting the tongue relax and rest in the mouth. Aware of the whole head and the face, soft and relaxed. Now become aware of your whole body, resting on whatever surface you choose, feeling the weight of your body, allowing your body to feel heavy, releasing into whatever surfaces you are connecting with, as though you could melt right down into the surface. Now we'll become aware of the breath. Notice that you are breathing. And as you're breathing, allow your inhale to get just a little bit longer. And when you exhale, allow that exhale to extend just a little bit longer. As the breath comes in, feel your belly and your rib cage rise and expand. And as you exhale, feel the softening and relaxation coming into the body. Enjoying a few more breaths. Long, slow inhale. Long, slow exhale. Breath is coming in and breath is going out. And then just for the next few breaths, see if you can direct the inhale all the way down to the belly, so that when you inhale, the belly expands like it's filling up like a balloon, bringing in as much air as you can hold. And then as you exhale, slowly release it, allowing the belly to soften, allowing the body to relax. And when you feel ready for the inhale to come in again, send it once again down to the belly, expanding. And as you exhale, release the breath nice and slow, allowing your body to relax even more. Now we'll take a moment to check in with our thoughts, observing our thoughts as though we're at the movies. And so you see the big screen in front of you, allowing your thoughts to present themselves on the screen, coming and going as they please. There's no need to interfere. Just watch what's going on in your mind. You might observe the quickness of the thoughts as they dart in and out. Or maybe you're seeing objects or colors or shapes. Or maybe you've decided to follow a thought and now you've gone on to a conversation that you had earlier. So if that's the case, just come back to the movie screen, grab your box of popcorn, and just watch your thoughts on the screen. It's important to know that we have thoughts, but that we are not controlled by our thoughts. To show you that you are not controlled by your thoughts, I'm going to now give you some thoughts. As I say each image, try and allow the image to come into your mind. And if you can't come up with the image, don't worry about it. Just wait for the next one. A red door. Watermelon. A cat stretching. A peacock feather. Bananas. Snow on a mountain. A school bus. A tall tree. Ice cream. A field of flowers. The position of your body. Now see if you can come back to the movie screen of your thoughts and see what's present for you there. Maybe you notice that the stream of thought has slowed down just a little bit. And now we'll observe if any emotions are present for you. It's okay if anything comes up for you and you express an emotion. Notice in this moment if you have any emotions present. And then see if you can let go of the story about that emotion and just be with the feeling. Noticing what it really feels like. And if you can't think of an emotion, or if you're not feeling an emotion right now, I'll give you one. Allow the experience of anxiety to come into your body. Without attaching to a story or a reason to be anxious, see if you can call up what it feels like to be anxious in your body. Notice how your breathing may have changed. Maybe anxiety for you has a shape or a color or a texture. Maybe it causes tightness in different parts of your body. See if you can become aware of where anxiety lives in your body. And just for one more moment, really feel what anxiety feels like. Now we'll ask anxiety to leave the body and invite in its opposite, which is calm, peace. Allowing the feeling of calm and peaceful tranquility to come over your entire body. What does it feel like to feel calm? Notice how your breathing may have changed. Notice if calm has a temperature or if it softens different parts of your body. Where does calm live in your body? And just for another moment, see what it feels like to be calm. And now I'd like to invite you to recall a joyful memory in as much detail as you can. Really go to your happy place. Hopefully you have many joyful memories to choose from. So for now, just choose one. A very happy time in your life and notice everything about that memory. Maybe you're indoors or outdoors. Maybe you're alone or with other people. Whatever's happening in this happy memory, recall everything that you can see, the sights, the colors, the textures. Notice everything that you can hear, what sounds are present in this happy memory. What can you smell in this happy memory? Or maybe there's even a taste present in this happy time. Take another moment and just relive this happy memory in as much detail as possible. And as you are recalling this happy time in your life, notice how your body feels. Notice if your breathing has changed. And know that anytime you need a mini vacation, you can always come back to this happy place, even for a moment, and allow the feelings that you're feeling right now to come over your entire being at any time. So it's at this time I'd like to invite you to repeat the intention that you set for yourself at the beginning of your practice. Whatever it was, go ahead and repeat it to yourself 3 times. For me, it is, I am calm. And then just for the next minute, rest in this silent space, the space beyond our physical body, the space beyond our thoughts, the space beyond our emotion, and just be with this particular space that holds joy and peace and calm. And then becoming aware of the sound of my voice, becoming aware of your body resting, maybe even becoming aware of the space that your body is currently occupying. Bringing awareness to the breath once again, noticing that you are breathing. And then begin to wiggle the fingers and toes. Taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and once again letting it out through the mouth with a nice sigh. Allow yourself 2 more deep breaths like that. And then if your body needs to stretch or wiggle around, or if you'd like to open your eyes and maybe give yourself a good yawn and a stretch, feel free to do so. Eventually making your way back to a comfortable seated position where you can have a little time to reflect on the practice, to notice how you feel after the practice, and to formulate any questions or comments that you'd like to share as a result of our time together. So I'd like to thank you for letting me share this practice with you. Take your time coming back. I know we can say that, but we have a few minutes. So if there are any questions or if anyone would like to share their experience, I would love to hear it. So thank you so much, and we'll open it up. We'll see how many of you are asleep.
Thank you so much, Kristy. Yeah, if anyone has, it doesn't even need to be a question, just a reflection. How did that feel for you? What did you think of it? And you can put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share.
Yes. And I didn't time that, so I don't know if anybody was timing that, but I think that was about a 25-minute practice. I just wanted to say that Yoga Nidra can be as short as 5 minutes. So if you only have a few minutes and you just need a break, the handout that Nori's going to send out will break down all the steps, so you could spend 30 seconds to a minute in each of those steps and give yourself a nice little power nap where you don't actually fall asleep, but that you would feel rested. So, yay.
We have a comment that says, it was lovely and relaxing. And we have another person who says, I really enjoyed that. I felt so free, safe with being inside myself. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Because, when we're in caregiving situations and we have feelings that we don't want to admit that we're having, we all sometimes have those moments where we feel even resentful for being put in the position of being the caregiver. And then we beat ourselves up about that because we shouldn't feel that way. But the truth is, everybody's human and we have feelings, and this is a practice that allows us to address that and to release all the stuff that we carry with it, because everything that we add on to how we're feeling weighs us down and makes us tired. So if we can release some of that, then it helps us to let it go.
Some more reflections and a question. Someone says, I don't remember anything after observing my thoughts. And then I heard you guide us to take some deep breaths again. Very relaxing. Wonderful. That was
working.
It's working. Eye-opening experience, and the training was on spot. Thank you. This session was so very helpful and perfect timing. I've really been exhausted and really appreciate your guidance. Let's see, somebody asks if you offer online classes.
I do. Just go to my website and you'll see everything on there.
It's Kristy's website is Wise Owl Wellness, and
it's Wise Owl Wellness, AZ for Arizona.
AZ, yes. I'm going to type it right in here. Wise Owl Wellness.
I don't know if you can see my cactus behind me. So.
And there, when I send out the evaluation, it'll be in there as well. Mm-hmm. Let's see, Maureen says, if anyone is interested in more Yoga Nidra, the New Bedford Wellness Facebook page does a live practice with Carly Bauman on Thursdays at 7. That can be accessed at your convenience. Thank you, Maureen.
Yeah, and YouTube is your friend also. If you go into search Yoga Nidra, you can find lots of videos available from as little as 2 to 3 minutes and upwards of an hour. Sometimes, especially if you're having insomnia and trouble sleeping, it can be helpful to pick one of those longer recordings and just put it on as you drift off to sleep. As someone mentioned, after observing the thoughts, they were kind of out. It only takes a little while. So you can definitely use Yoga Nidra as a sleep aid. And then as you get familiar with the practice, the goal is to try and stay awake.
Let's see. Can you
So,
spell Yoga Nidra? Yes, it's yoga. I'm putting in the chat. So it's YOGA and then Nidra, NIDRA.
Yes, that is actually Sanskrit for yogic sleep. So Nidra is the word for sleep in Sanskrit. So it's the idea of using yoga techniques like paying attention to the breath, paying attention to the body, systematic relaxation that takes us into that yogic state of sleep.
good, Kristy,
Yes.
you hear me? It's Bob. And I am very, very good. I don't remember anything and kind of what happened after the facial. I don't know whether you went silent or you kept, but I think I pretty much fell asleep. And that's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Is I always felt that you should, and it seemed like your last comment was that you didn't really want to, in meditation, you wanted to not fall asleep because that goes into a completely different physiology, a brain change. So I'm confused about your comment about going to sleep was okay versus you just commented in saying that as you get really good at this, you want to stay meditating but not asleep. Am I making any sense?
Yes, Bob, you're making perfect sense. And the answer is yes. What I mean is, if you fall asleep during the practice of Yoga Nidra, it means you're tired, and that's okay. So sometimes it's more important to get sleep, especially if you've been dealing with insomnia. The body needs sleep. So if you're doing the practice and you fall asleep, that means finally the body is getting the rest. But eventually you'll train yourself a little bits and pieces. You'll go deeper into it and try to stay awake. Now, the practice is still going to work even if you fall asleep, because our bodies are more intelligent than our brains. And our body is still receiving the information through all of those trillions of cells. And it's the reason that you're still able to come back out of it. If you were really and truly asleep, you never would have heard me say, okay, take some deep breaths and come back. You'd still be snoring somewhere, Bob. So it's still working.
Very, very helpful answer. Thank you.
You bet.
We have one other comment that says, I felt very safe no matter what was happening around me.
That is beautiful. I think oftentimes we are dealing with a lot of stuff that makes us unsteady and not secure. So there's a lot of fear that comes along with not only caregiving, but dealing with the diagnosis of dementia. There's a lot of unknown. And from day to day, you don't know what's going to happen or how people are going to feel or what's coming at you. So there's a lot of fear there. So the ability to feel safe and secure is definitely proof that it's working, for one thing, because you can get to that point of relaxation. When we're afraid, we're not able to fully let go. And so if we're holding on to fears, you cannot reach those levels of relaxation. And that's the beauty of Yoga Nidra, is that it's so systematic that it starts in the body, releasing the muscular tension, because that's where we know we hold tension, we can feel it. But as we move through paying attention to the breath and paying attention to the mind and our thoughts and paying attention to our emotions, we begin to realize that we're holding on to tension internally more so than physically. So it's kind of like you get to relax on those deeper levels that you're not able to access if you just take 10 deep breaths and go about the rest of your day.
Let's see, we've got, another comment. Wink says, it put me back in my virtual backdrop, and it looks like he is somewhere in the Caribbean or somewhere very warm and tropical. So
Yay, he took a mini vacation. I love that.
I also went to Mexico, so maybe I was with you, Wink.
Happy places all over. I love it.
I had an interesting experience. I wanted to share. It's hard to write it because it would take forever. I'll try to make it as succinct as possible. I've done meditation in the past, mind, body, Herbert Benson and all that. And then unfortunately, I have to admit, I haven't done it recently. And I had an experience that I'd never experienced before during this. It was wonderful, but I had this feeling to run. And I had to let myself have that, but I didn't get up and I didn't run. And then it passed as we went to the happy place. And then as you went to the next thing, that passed. But I was really interested in that. I think it has some other, implication, I'm sure, but I wanted to share that with you. And I wanted to thank you because it really did.
Thank you.
I did get
Thank
up.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that comment, Josephine. I appreciate that. It's one of the reasons I said in the beginning that if at any time you feel uncomfortable, you should tune me out. Because especially if we're working with emotions, it can make us want to run and get out of there and not deal with that. And that's one of the reasons that we do it in this practice, because we remind you, you are in a safe space and that you can experience those difficult emotions because we have them, they're in there. And sometimes maybe we don't know that they're in there because we're so good at pushing them away. And when we have an opportunity to let them come out and peek their head out, then it can be a little scary. So practicing Yoga Nidra is a wonderful way to work with those and be aware of them and take the fear out of it and detach from the instance or the cause, what we think is the cause of that emotion, and just feel it. And then very purposefully, we brought in the opposite of that, because we never want to leave somebody stuck in that negative emotion. So we always flip it to the opposite, and that way we can come out of it, know that we felt it, what it looks like. So in real life, when you start feeling that stuff, you know it's coming. Sometimes it hits us before we know it. So this is a great practice to kind of get ahead of it.
Anyone else have any reflections they'd like to share about their experience or questions? We have a few more minutes.
Did it feel like you had a nap? Do you feel rested? Good.
Well, I guess I'll just, take this time to thank everybody for coming, to thank everyone for choosing to show up in this way. Sometimes it takes a lot to choose to take an hour of our time to take care of ourselves. And, as Kristy was saying, sometimes there's a lot of fear around that. What happens if I go to this relaxing place for a little while? What might show up? So I think Kristy was an extraordinary guide in the Yoga Nidra practice, and I'm so grateful for her joining the Dementia Care Collaborative today. Kristy will be back in 2 weeks on Thursday, February 11th, same time, same place. I set it as a reoccurring Zoom, so it'll be the same Zoom link, but I will send out another invitation for everyone to register again. Later this afternoon, you'll receive an email with an evaluation that, again, will probably take about a minute, but we really do want to hear everyone's feedback. And Kristy also took time to create a 25-minute practice, a recording for you to use at home, and to share if this was helpful for you. We want to expand it. We want more people to have access to this sort of wellness program. So that'll come in an email this afternoon. There's actually going to be 2 emails, and then there's going to be a separate one that has the PDF that has some of the science that that Kristy went through, along with some tips so that you can do this at home. And it is being recorded, so we will host it on our website, which is just dementiacarecollaborative.org. Usually takes 7 to 10 days to edit it and get it up on the website. So I think that is the conclusion. And again, just thank you everybody for coming. Kristy, thank you so much for offering this practice for everyone today. We can't thank you enough.